And today, we're going to talk about magic words that you can leverage to be more influential and impactful. As I think about the accounting industry, this is a world where it's reliant upon being very precise in the way that you do your work, in the way you deliver your work for your clients. When you think about accurate numbers, allows you to make really accurate decisions. And you hold that very true, and you're very proud of that, right? Like being able to deliver accurate numbers is really a representation of the quality of the work that you do. What I hope to leave with you today is to think about being more intentional in the accuracy of the words that you use when you're having conversations with your clients. All right, so I'm going to read this quote to you. Some of you might have a feeling about it, right? Because words do kind of trigger certain responses. And the quote is from Phil Jones, who's the author of the book, exactly what it says. Everybody's in the business of selling something. Now, I bet you're a bit like me. You think of the word sales, what's probably the first thing that comes to mind? Cringe, right? And what I hope to bring you is, or invite you to, is a different perspective of how you can look at selling, because it's a necessary thing. It's something that humans do all day. Actually, we've done it ever since we were born. How many of you have kids? Raise your hand. And if you didn't raise your hand, how many of you ever have been a kid before, right? So I think we all in this room can agree to that thing. But if you really think about, kids are so interesting, right? When they want something, what do they typically do? They ask for it, right? And then you typically say sometimes no, right? Like, let me get ice cream after I just brushed my teeth, and I'm about to go to bed. You're like, no. But then, do you think they give up that day? They ask for it again, right? And then they ask again. And there's this powerful quote that says, if you do not ask, you do not get or receive, right? And so sales has always been in our nature for us to convince someone or influence someone into doing something, right? Into thinking about something differently, into behaving a certain way. Now, if we do this with integrity, then we are serving our purpose, which I'm sure many of you signed up to do this work to help people, right? So what I encourage you to think about when you look at the word sales, in the context of what you do, align it with your mission, right? Which is, I'm here to help people. So I'm going to sell something, it's because I'm here to help someone achieve a specific type of goal. So I think in your mind, if you can sort of hack your association with the word sales as selling being helping, or you could also say selling is serving. As long as you're doing in service for someone else, then you can feel okay about selling the benefit of signing up to work with you, or potentially upgrade some of the services, right? Because oftentimes we may get in our own ways. We may say, oh, I just don't want to come off as salesy, or I don't want them to think I'm being greedy. But just really ask yourself, well, is this going to be helping or hurting the relationship? What don't we sell? And I know this is going to probably sound a little weird, because it's like, wait, what? We do sell that. We don't sell tax prep and filing. We don't sell financial statement preparation. We don't sell bookkeeping services, payroll, business formation and structuring, accounts payable, receivables management, advisor consulting services. What we actually sell is a feeling. What we actually sell is an outcome, right? It's through being able to file your tax returns or being able to have your books intact is where your customer is going to feel that peace of mind, or the confidence to be able to make difficult, challenging business decisions, whether it is about to be acquired, or should I expand, should I hire more people. That's the value you provide. And we need to communicate that. So when you're in a networking event, you're the only accountant in the room, and someone says, what do you do? Typically kind of our short, quick answer is, I'm an accountant, or I'm an accounting professional. Well, what if you said, instead of that is, I help, and then you insert the specific type of customer you help, right? I help construction businesses have access to real-time data so they can make confident decisions in growing their business. Quite different, right? That they see you say, I'm just an accountant, or I'm an accountant. They're just anyone else. But then you say all these other things, they're like, oh, wow, this person's very passionate about what they do. They're looking to be in service of this person. And they see the future desired state already. That's what where we want to put our customers and our prospects, in a space where they imagine themselves in a better future. Because great leadership, if you think about great speakers and great leaders, we follow them because they have a great vision for the future, right? Where in the world of politics, I'm not going to use any specifics, but if you're probably compelled by one or the other, it's because what do they mostly talk about is how do we build a better future. Now, if we can use some of those lessons when we're having real-time conversations with our customers, you're going to notice a big difference in the way that your customers listen to you, in the way that they value the advice or the recommendations or the information that you share with them. So what we actually sell is tax savings. What we actually sell is financial operational savings, time savings. These are outcomes, risk mitigation, peace of mind, confidence to make quick decisions. You want to make sure that your customer is the hero in that story, and that you're literally in their shoes, seeing the world from their point of view. And this is where they want. This is the outcome that they want. Using more intentional language like this is going to help you make better, quicker connections. They're going to feel like they get me, they understand me. They've done this before. They've done it for someone like me. So we're going to talk about influence a lot, because what I have learned about this work is that initially, when Hector and I started learning more about, okay, these are some specific words you can use. Is it like a script? Is it like to manipulate a situation? So at the beginning, we kind of felt like this kind of looks and feels a little gimmicky. So I want to give you clear instructions of how to leverage these resources and these ideas with the right intentionality, right? With integrity. But I want to talk about influence, because what we're really here to do is we want to influence. We want to suggest, we want to recommend, we want to be able to message where you're not forcing. You're not forcing. And a modern day philosopher who did a lot of martial arts, many of you probably remember who this person was, Bruce Lee, said, oftentimes we need to empty our mind, right? Be like water, formless, shapeless, and be ready to sort of adapt to any situation. So to be influential, we also want to make sure that we don't bring any prejudgments, right? Because oftentimes you get into the same conversation over and over again, and you may be already thinking how you think it's gonna go. So the idea behind influence is to have the capacity not only to have the effect on behavior change on something or someone, but also to come into conversations, into situations with full curiosity. Like, what would a 5-year-old do if they walked into a situation that's brand new to them? They typically ask you, well, why is that like that? And why does that work? With no judgment whatsoever. They just want to understand, get better context. So one idea for you to be more influential is, in order to be more influential, the key to that is to be more curious. Right? How can you show up to conversations with pure curiosity? Assume no malicious intent on the client's side. Assume that you know nothing about what they truly need. Because often, right, you kind of see the same patterns, right? I need a bookkeeping cleanup. I haven't done my bookkeeping in 5 years. You're like, oh, okay, I know exactly what it is. How many bank accounts, right? And how many transactions? And we go into the comfortable pattern. And over time, it's the ability to affect change without direct force or control. So you think about influence and control. What would be the differences between one word and the other? What comes to mind? If I say, what's the difference between influence and control? Say it again, louder, sorry. Yes. What else? Right. So think about it as influence being indirect and control being very direct, right? How many of you ever gotten someone saying, you know what you should do? You should. And there people are just shooting all over you. I'm like, no, thank you. Right? The word should has such a heavy weight on it, right? Should already puts judgment on there. It says that if you don't do it, then it disqualifies you from whatever else that thing is. The way we can have better influence is through transforming the way that we use our words and our language. And Peter Block, who's the author of the book Flawless Consulting, says that transformation is about a shift in language and conversation. Sometimes influence needs to start inward by the way you talk to yourself. So I also encourage you is, are you saying to yourself, I should do more of this, I should do more of that? And could that be changed with different language? You know, I aim to do more of this, I aim to do more of that. I'm looking forward to do more of this. So that way, rather than giving yourself judgment, you're treating yourself also with curiosity. It's like, what if I tried something new? So the idea here is that if you change your words, you'll change your world. There's another powerful quote from Wayne Dyer that says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's all we really want to do. I'm not asking you that you to say these exact phrases. Some of them may resonate really well with you. Others, it's going to take some time for you to be like, you might say, I would never say that. That just doesn't represent who I am. And that's all right. We're gonna play a little bit with some of the phrases. I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about why they're called magic words. There's actually some science, and there's some neuroscience attached to this. These are studies of principles of persuasion. What's really cool about this, I'm about to reveal the secrets of persuasion, because once you learn some of these words, you're going to start noticing in today's keynote, even in the last few keynotes, some of the speakers were using these words. You're going to notice when you watch your favorite sports TV post-interview or news anchor or some of these high-level speakers use this language. And you'll be like, they've been doing that to me this whole time. Well, it's not doing it to you. They're just speaking with more intentionality, right? And so I want to share with you what's the impact of using this language when it comes to your audience and your listener. The first step that I would encourage you to think about is take inventory of what are all the critical conversations. And what we call in exactly what to say critical conversations these are high stakes, right, moments where common objections that you're running into, or maybe a little confrontational. I like to call it emotional hijackers. How many of you ever had like first thing they say, before we even get started, what's your price? You're like, geez, like, hello, my name is, like, come on, can we just get to know each other a little bit? So that's a critical conversation where you really can't control what's happening. You can't control what they say, but you can control how you respond. So why are they called magic words? Well, these have been studied to be principles of persuasion and influence because words that you use in certain conversations can create actual images, right? And we can visualize some of these things, and when these images are used inside of the language that you're sharing, emotions get influenced by that. It's either a positive emotion, a stressful emotion, an anxious emotion, a happy emotion. So what if we can use the right magic words in the right moments so that we can help folks arrive at decision? Our brains, our subconscious, actually is like a computer. When we're ready to make decisions, there is a yes output and a no output. As a matter of fact, we have been conditioned already to make thousands and thousands of decisions per day. Like, we decided to wake up, we decided to look at our phone, we decided to read a text message, where you're constantly deciding, but you're doing it so much and so often that it's subconscious. And so the idea of using some of these phrases in this language is for you to help influence them to arriving at a decision faster, rather than staying in the indecision lane. So I want to introduce to you one concept. This is called a rejection-free opening. This is the idea of being able to introduce something just about anyone at any time. And imagine if you could just increase your probabilities of someone saying yes to you if you could preface it with the phrase, I'm not sure if it's for you, but. I'm actually going to break down what is the subconscious, what it's doing to the subconscious when you do this. So I'm not sure if it's for you. It's kind of a vague statement because you're saying it, like I'm not sure if it's for you. So you're automatically creating curiosity by doing that, right? Hey, I'm not sure if it's for you. The second thing you're doing to the subconscious is you're also saying, hey, there's no pressure here. So I'm not affected by you saying no to me. Like, I already self-rejected, so you don't got to do it for me if you say no. So he's like, you're taking control of it, right? You're saying, I'm not sure if it's for you. And you want to, again, tonality is important. You could be like, I'm not sure if it's for you. That's not the way we want to do it. You could say, hey, I'm not sure if it's for you. The other thing that it's doing to subconscious is kind of saying, there's a little voice in the head saying, well, who are you to tell me what is and what's not for me? So it gives them a little bit of a challenge. All of this is happening subconsciously, which creates that curiosity gap. And it makes them want to say, what is this thing that you're about to talk about? And then, of course, as you know, anything that happens after the word but negates everything that you just said before that. How many of you ever been in a conversation, maybe a relationship type of thing, where like, you're great, you're smart, you're awesome, blah, blah. Then they say but, and you tune out everything else that was just said before that. And you're like, "Arr," right? So the idea here is think about a situation where maybe you want to introduce a client to an appointment or to learn more about how you both can work together. Or what about an existing client? Maybe you have a new service that you're offering, or maybe upselling, or you're changing your packages. And you could say something to the effect of, hey, I'm not sure if it's for you, but we're actually rolling out a couple of new things to help our business owners make better financial decisions, blah, 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 blah. Would you be open to learning more about that next week? So now it doesn't come off as salesy and pushy. You're just softening the idea. You're influencing them to potentially say yes, right? How many of you, raise your hand, if you consider yourself, you see yourself as someone who's open-minded? How many of you like to see yourself as open-minded? So what's interesting is that humans like to see themselves as open-minded. And I saw a few of you with your arms crossed, by the way. Like, no, I'm not going to fall for that trick. I get it. That's fine. It's all right. But studies show that most people like to see themselves as open-minded. Doesn't mean they are, but they like to see themselves, right? Because who doesn't, right? What's the opposite of open-minded? Close-minded. Well, you don't get much about being closed-minded. So the idea of using the phrase open-minded is, again, it's a rejection-free opening where you're offering an idea for someone to move, for someone to say yes to something, and you're just inserting the idea of open-minded. So you can ask two ways. You could ask, would you be open-minded to? So let's think about one of those critical moments. Someone says something to you like, scope creep, right? So, hey, could you read this letter for me? And it's been like the 17th time that they've asked you to read a letter for them. You're like, hey, I noticed that you've been sending me a lot of these letters, and it seems like it's very important. Would you be open-minded to have a conversation again about our engagement, so we could talk about what we can and can't do, so we could better serve you? So it's just a soft way for you to transition that difficult conversation and position yourself as, stay professional and stay in the game. So these are some ideas of how you can leverage that. You can also say, I'm not sure if it's for you, but how open-minded would you be to having a conversation next week about potentially working together? So you can stack a couple of phrases, and now the other person's just like, oh, that's cool, I can do that. So it's just a nice way for you to be more intentional, effective in the language that you use. In this world, we're stuck with giving a lot of bad news, right? You're getting audited, you're getting a letter, you're behind on your bookkeeping. Unfortunately, you are stuck to have to give them a lot of bad news. So by using a label, using the good news is, you're already tapping into the subconscious to allow someone to kind of see the positive out of the negative things. So when you leverage something like the good news is, hey, you did get an IRS letter, and it's telling you that you're going to get audited. But the good news is, we've done this before, and we're equipped to help you get through this. You see the difference of how you can flip a negative situation to a positive situation? So just think about those scenarios where you may have to be burdened with giving the bad news, but where can you find the good news in it? So you can help your customers still see that being with you, they feel comfortable, and you continue to retain that trust and that loyalty from them. Now just imagine, you probably heard me say that a couple of times, and when we walked up to the stage, I don't know if you noticed which song we used as walk-up song. Just imagine, just imagine. So decisions are actually made twice before they are actually executed in our mind. One is, in our imaginations, we first try to see ourselves doing the thing before we actually think about doing the thing, right? How many times have you ever been in a conversation, you say, I just can't see myself doing that. I just can't see myself saying that. Their imagination is very powerful. So when you're thinking about using the just imagine phrase, where could you position a positive dream outcome scenario for a customer where it helps them relieve of potential anxiety, right? So think about, again, another critical conversation where maybe they're indecisive about wanting to work with you. You could say something like, well, just imagine you and I in a coffee shop 2 years from now, having a conversation, celebrating all the great things that we've done. Now you're putting them in a place of a positive outcome. Or you say, just imagine being able to show up every day at work with real-time numbers so you know exactly where your costs and expenses are, and you're confident about the decisions that you're making, and you're celebrating with your business partner of all the growth and all the amazing success that you're achieving. So you're putting them in a positive mental state, feeling good about what it is that you could do together towards that feeling or outcome that we talked about earlier, right? Because we're not selling just a service. We're selling a feeling or an outcome. This is a great way to influence someone to put themselves in that positive state. Now remember, great power comes great responsibility. You could easily use just imagine the wrong way, and we don't want to do that. But it's helpful. It's helpful for you to paint a great picture of, because remember, great leaders paint a better future for us, right? And you are leaders. You're leading conversations and you're leading your clients to become better business owners, better financial decision makers. And this is how you can lead more effectively. Predictability is huge. Oftentimes, we kind of leave things out there in the void, right? So you ask all these great questions, and this is another great label to leverage for you to move conversations forward. People love knowing what happens next. This is why you want access to the slides. I'm not wrong, right? Humans like predictability. So a great way for you to position and frame what happens next in the conversation is by literally saying the words, so what happens next is, and then you say what actually happens next, right? You tell them the process. So think about onboarding a new potential client or a prospect that's thinking about, so what happens next is I'm going to send you a proposal. It's going to have a hyperlink where you're going to make your deposit, and then we're going to give you an invitation to the portal where you're going to go ahead and update those documents. You're giving them the predictability. You're already conditioning them to do what it is you want them to do before you start going into the document chasing and the, did you give me your W-2 yet? Did you give me your blank? So this is very good for you to keep full transparency of what to expect. And your clients want to know exactly what to expect and how to expect it. And the more you're precise with it, the more you're going to convert opportunities, the faster you're going to get cash flow, the faster you're going to get documents. So the clearer you are on your process, the better they're going to be on doing the things you want them. Okay, so a couple of things for you to consider and recap. Worst time to think about the thing you're going to say is in the moment you're going to say it. Know the moments that exist in your business and prepare for them. Identify those critical conversations that exist in your world and just be more intentional using the magic phrases. And you're like, okay, well, how do I get access to these things? Well, the good news is, see what I did there? No? Okay. Hector and I actually had the opportunity to work with the author, Phil Jones. And he has this book in Amazon. You can get the generic version. It gives you generic examples. But we actually did a collab where we built accounting examples of how you use 23 magic phrases for any and every situation. So I could say something like, I'm not sure if it's for you, but we've developed a new quarterly planning strategy service that could save you a lot in taxes. I'm not sure if it's for you, but we have a new software that has significantly reduced bookkeeping time many of our clients. So if you would be open-minded to learning more about how you can be more intentional with your conversations. The good news is Hector and I built this edition. If you want to learn more about it, you can check it out. We're developing a cool implementation guide so that you can start practicing some of this language. And we have some friends in the front row who's actually practiced some of it, and would love to. We're going to play a little game. And Vanessa has already been prompted. We're going to play a little game, and you're going to see some live demoing of how to use the magic words. Would you like to see that? Cool. Vanessa, come on stage. Let's give it up for Vanessa. Do we have a microphone? Awesome. Sure. Okay. So, we got these little role play cards that have the actual magic words. Vanessa's good. We've been practicing for like a year on this stuff. So,
that's the spot.
Vanessa, I'm a customer and I'm thinking about like potentially going to another competitor. And I would say, well, let's use one of these, the ones that we've already introduced. So let's say I tell you something like, well, thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate all the information. I'm going to go think about it and get back to you on it.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, Carlos, I love the opportunity you have given me, but what would be your experience on being with another person or going with a different person on this type of job?
Well, I don't have experience, which is why I want to know for me to see if like what I'm investing in is the right decision for me.
Awesome. And what is just out of curiosity, what would be something that you want as an outcome from this relationship?
I want someone that can answer the phone when I call them, that delivers my reports on time, and that can do it for cheap. I'm trying to be real.
That is awesome. So let me tell you, the good news is that I have a whole team that is prepped for you, that is ready to give you that type of service and that type of response and outcome that you need.
Okay, cool. Well, let me get my partner in and let's have a conversation and see if we can do that.
So the next step will be to us to have another meeting. Would it be possible that we can schedule another call so we can talk with you and your partner?
Absolutely possible. Let's give it up. All right. I don't want to keep it. She wanted to go into the whole thing. Great. Okay. So you see how like it flows a lot easier that way, right? But it takes practice. Now, Vanessa and I have probably done 1,000 reps of that, right? And now obviously I put her on the spot. She's on stage and she's like, what am I doing? Why are you doing this to me? But she's a natural and she's done it so well. And I know we got some folks who've been leveraging as well. And Hector actually has a microphone, so.
I got my last 8 books here. Last 8 books for you guys. Someone just tell me whether any of this stuff is going to be useful for you tomorrow. Just wrap. Oh, there we go.
Okay, hang on.
Please stop.
Hang on. How about this, Hector? Come here. First person to come on stage to practice one of the magic words. Let's go. There we go. Okay. All right. Here we go. I'm going to give you open-minded. Try to say how open-minded or would you be open-minded and share. Just make it messy. No worries. We all love you. It's okay. Let's give it up for him. Let's make sure. Because I know it's nerve-wracking. Anything you want. Think about like maybe you want to offer me an appointment to meet with you and learn about your business.
Just curious. Just curious. Would you be open-minded to talking again about a rate?
A rate?
Yes, our current.
What kind of rate?
For our service.
Okay. What is it you want to really try to ask me?
Would you be open-minded to paying more for our service?
Okay.
So that I can provide better.
Would you mind if I give you a couple of ideas? Okay. So maybe you could say something like, how open-minded would you be about discussing ways you can get more value out of working with us? Right? So you're not talking about price, you're talking about the thing that they get.
So price is a bad word.
Well,
kind of.
It's not price is not a bad word. You could say price, but you want to just everything around the word price, make it pretty, right?
Okay.
So you could say, how open-minded would you be about getting a preferred price for doing some package services with us?
Preferred.
Ooh, see? So you put a little like decoration to it. All right, you're good, man. Go ahead.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give me the card. Okay, we got another one. All right, let's see. Should be easy. It's a new magic word. The word is, how would you feel if? We're trying to create a feeling. You're trying to help me arrive at a feeling. And you're just going to paint a beautiful picture of, like, how would you feel if something. I'm going to put you on the spot. Let's see if you can try it.
Try not to mimic all the words that you just said. How would you feel if 3 weeks from now, you've got all the numbers that you need to apply for this bank loan, you're confident in your...
That's what's up. That's it. You got it. See? Who's next? Here we go. Let's give it up. Let's give it up for Bonnie. Okay. Do you have one in mind already you want to use? Okay, go ahead and freeform it.
Just imagine 3 months from now, spend with your children, focusing on your job, instead of focusing on all the stuff that
Okay, thank you so much. Now we're out of time. We're out of time. So just for you walking up, hey, whoever walks up gets that book from Hector. You don't ask, you don't get. If you don't ask, you don't get. Look at this, free book. So thank you everybody for coming. We appreciate it. If you're interested in learning more,